Once again, good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you to Borough President Antonio Reynoso's 2025 State of the Borough Address. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We would also like to thank our host, Boys and Girls High School, our production partners, Chemistry Creative, and our media partner, BRIC Arts Media. Let's give all of our partners a round of applause. Before we begin tonight's program, we would like to acknowledge the lives lost this week at the Jet Set nightclub in the Dominican Republic. So please take a moment of silence for the victims and survivors. Thank you. And now we invite to the stage Pastor Stephen Eugene Carter of Mount Ararat Baptist Church for tonight's invocation. Please receive him.
Good evening to all. I'm honored to be here tonight as we come to share and learn with one another. Let us give a hand to our Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. Come on. And then let us give a hand to our awesome Deputy Borough President, Reverend Kim Council. And to each of you, give yourselves a hand for taking our time to come and make a difference. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we come before you tonight as a community of many backgrounds, beliefs, and traditions, yet bound together by a shared hope for a better Brooklyn. You are the source of wisdom, justice, and peace. And we ask for your presence among us as we engage in the works of building a more just, compassionate, and thriving borough. Bless our borough president, our civic leaders, and all those who labor for the good of our people. Grant them wisdom to make decisions that uplift the vulnerable, courage to stand for what is right, and endurance to press forward even in the face of challenges. We lift up every resident of Brooklyn, the young and the elderly, the housed and the unhoused, the employed and the struggling. May we see each other not as strangers, but as neighbors, not as competitors, but as partners in the works of justice, mercy, and love. Father God, let peace dwell in our streets, success in our businesses, transformation in our ministries, and unity in our hearts. May the diversity that defines us also strengthens us and make us never grow weary in seeking the good of all. We ask that you favor this meeting to conclude with positive production in the mindset of the challenges we may face. Allow every person who depart tonight to leave knowing that their presence and their time were not in vain. We ask this in the spirit of love and service and in the spirit of God. And we all say, amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Carter. And now we're going to call to the stage Shulayla Clark of Mill Basin to come on stage for the national anthem of the United States of America. If you are able, would you please rise?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may take your seats. And now we want you to put your hands together and give it up for a special performance from Brooklyn's own Nelson Mandela Drumline. Come on, let's give it up one more time for the Nelson Mandela Drumline and Boys and Girls High School Drumline. And now, my beloved Brooklyn, I want you to give a strong Brooklyn welcome to the 20th president of the greatest borough of New York City, live in Bedford-Stuyvesant, the livest one, representing BK to the fullest, the one and only Honorable Antonio Reynoso. Put your hands together and show him some Brooklyn love, please.
Yeah. Yeah. beso, un beso. Mwah. Oh. Good evening, Brooklyn. I don't know if I felt that. I said, good evening, Brooklyn. There you go. Well, thank you so much for being here today. You're in for a treat. I want to start off, of course, by thanking my family, my two sons, Alejandro and Andres, that you just saw, and my wife, Ileana. If you guys know anything about the work that we do here as elected officials, without family, you're nothing. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to my beautiful wife, Ileana, for everything she does for us. Thank you so much, baby. And I love you all, every single one of you. We spread love, and I just want to say I love you first and foremost. I want to shout out my fellow BPs, Donovan Richards from Queens. On the other side of the borough, Mark Levine from Manhattan. Vanessa Gibson from the X, the BX. And from Shaolin in Staten Island, Vito Fasella. I want to acknowledge a couple more elected officials. Of course, the most popular elected official in all of the state, your state comptroller, Tom DiNapoli. I want to thank our governor, Kathy Hochul, who's represented by the great, where is she? Debbie Lewis. There's Debbie. How are you? My sister from the other side of the island, Councilmember Rita Joseph. The North Brooklyn crew is showing up with Councilmember Sandy Nurse, who just passed legislation to get more bathrooms in our city. Thank you so much, Councilmember Nurse. You're going to like that one in a couple of years, let me tell you. State Senator Julia Salazar. Our Commissioner, Mayuga, where is from? Hello, ¿cómo estás? A pleasure to have you here. And I shouted out Donovan Richards already. Where is Donovan? Oh, he might have come and go. And these folks from Queens, you got to be careful. I know there's, there you go, there you go. The Queens people always show up. Also want to recognize Marty Marr, who's here from the Parks Department as well. He lent us the bench. Want to say thank you, Marty. To all, it's a lot of us. We're going to be coming in. We're going to be coming out. I want to thank all of the state assembly members, the state senators, our great council members, our community board members. Thank you for being here. Our local leaders, our neighbors that are here with us, and our performers, Suleila Clark. I don't know if you, hello, Suleila. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. LaGuardia College is going out. LaGuardia High School is going to college very soon. Thank you so much for your job. The Nelson Mandela Drumline, give them a shout out. Borough Hall's own DJ specialist. The great hosts here, Boys and Girls High School, Principal Harrison, thank you so much. Our partners like BRIC and Chem Creative, who set all this up. I hope you enjoy the presentation. It comes from Chem Creative, who's also a Brooklyn-based company. We want to give them a shout out. Brooklyn Borough Hall and my staff, thank you so much for everything you do. I want to give a special shout out to Hunter Rabinowitz, who is the lead on this. Hunter, thank you so much for all the great work you're doing. And of course, want to thank my Deputy Borough President, Kim Council, for everything that she does in here. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful that we recognize the terrible tragedy that happened in the Dominican Republic, my home, where over 200 people have passed. I appreciate the moment of silence. There's still people that we're trying to find, but these tragedies happen, and we do keep them in our prayers and in our hearts. So thank you all for taking that time as well. And now we're going to start. Are you ready? Yes. I don't feel that. Are you ready? Yes. No one here is drinking anything or eating anything, so clap it up every time you get a chance. Just have a good time. This is a celebration because we are Brooklyn, and I'm going to start tonight with a Brooklyn story. It starts with a boy and girl from the Dominican Republic who came to New York and fell in love. It's my parents. And it ends with a kid from Brooklyn who succeeded because the city bet on him, his parents, and his future. My name is Antonio Reynoso, and before I became your borough president, I was just a brown boy from the south side of Williamsburg. I grew up in Section 8 housing, eating family dinners paid for by food stamps, and playing basketball with my friends over at Rodney Park. My family was poor, but we were happy. My parents felt like the life that they wanted for me, for us, for themselves, it was always in reach. They didn't mind how far they had to go to get there. The promise of it all, it was strong enough. It could be theirs if they just put in the work. And they did. Things weren't great in Williamsburg. It was the 80s, but our family was doing okay. We were figuring it out. And I used to say it was luck. And some of it was, but a lot of it wasn't. Section 8 housing, food stamps, school scholarships, welfare, WIC, that's not luck. It's government. It's all the resources New York and this country used to take a bet on me. Brooklyn backed me. And now it is my honor and responsibility to back Brooklyn. Because what it really comes down to is opportunity. The thing about a borough, a neighborhood, a block, is not just a geographic location. It's a gateway to a suite of resources, to schools, jobs, to trains, buses, healthcare facilities, parks, libraries, all of the things that shape our daily lives and our future possibilities. And which neighborhoods have opportunities and which don't, that's not luck either. It's a public policy. It's government. It's layers and layers of decisions that have been made over decades and centuries to create communities that we live in today. And as much as we wish they were, most of these decisions were not motivated by public good. In fact, quite the opposite. The chronic disinvestment of poor immigrant and working class neighborhoods was no mistake. And it's why today we're left with such a stark pattern of inequities. 2 years ago, I announced my comprehensive plan for Brooklyn, the largest borough-specific planning effort in our city's history. Tonight, I'm proud to announce that the plan just got bigger. With over 250 pages and over 150 maps, I'd like to introduce you to my 2025 comprehensive plan for Brooklyn. And there's one part I'm particularly excited to tell you about, and that is the Access to Opportunity Index. This tool weighs 5 major elements: jobs, health, education, transit, and climate risk, to paint a picture of where opportunity is and isn't in our borough. What we see comes to no surprise. The neighborhoods with the highest scores, including parts of Greenpoint, Williamsburg, Park Slope, Carroll Gardens, and Boerum Hill. While the neighborhoods with the lowest scores include Coney Island, Canarsie, and Red Hook. It's a snapshot into the way our city has chosen to back some neighborhoods and leave others to fend for themselves. And I want to be clear, where government is absent, neighbors are picking up the slack. They're doing the work. The areas with less built-in access to opportunity are also the birthplace of some of the most innovative community-led efforts to improve the daily lives of Brooklynites. Let's give it up. Like East New York Farms, where in the face, there you go, where in the face of record-high food insecurity, residents are teaching one another how to garden, how to grow and sell their own fruits and vegetables. And what the index makes clear is not where Brooklyn is failing, but is where government is failing Brooklyn. And we can use this index as a tool for advocacy, accountability, and planning to build opportunity in the neighborhoods long deprived of it. Like in Canarsie and Bed-Stuy, where my office has prioritized green space investments into neighborhoods that are underfunded or neglected and have insufficient parkland. Or consider the Interborough Express, for example. The Interborough, all right, give it up for the Interborough Express. Debbie, you heard that clap? Hey, there you go. My brother from Queens was here now, he's here. Donovan Richards and I, right, the Interborough Express, the IBX would get you from Bay Ridge to Midwood, through Flatbush and Canarsie, up to Broadway Junction, and then you get to meet Donovan Richards in Queens in only 40 minutes. 40 minutes, yes. It is built atop an existing 14-mile freight line. It would connect southern and eastern Brooklyn with 17 subway lines and the Long Island Railroad. And it's not just an urban fantasy. It's a plan within reach. And when we look at how it stacks up alongside the Access of Opportunity Index, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. The IBX would radically change the lives of 900,000 residents and 260 workers who are currently underserved by our transit system. It would connect people to people, kids to schools, neighbors to jobs, and most importantly, New Yorkers to opportunity. That's what this is about. Opportunity is everything. And our city understood that for a minute, only a minute. But we've lost our way. Instead of a system based on possibility and hope, we've stumbled into a spiral of enforcement and fear. We can't fear or enforce our way to progress. No. We get there when we can look out the window and dream up of a small business we'd put in that long vacant storefront. Or when we can save a little extra money each month knowing it won't be too long until we can move into our favorite neighborhood. Because if there's one thing I know for certain, is that when New Yorkers are given the chance, we don't take it for granted. You give us an inch, and we do the impossible. We get it done. This year, we did things no one thought we could do. We brought down the scaffolding at Magnolia Tree Earth Center. We established the nation's first ever congestion relief zone. We broke ground on South Brooklyn Health's brand new state-of-the-art Women's Health Center and NICU. We implemented our very first commercial waste zone in Queens. And we kept our beloved child care centers open for at least one more year. Thank you, Councilmember Joseph. And we won our very first WNBA championship. In Brooklyn. This city can do amazing things. We can do amazing things. But at some point, we started doubting it. We started doubting each other, believing that what everyone else said about us. We became so obsessed with keeping things the same, keeping people out, that we forgot that we became great because we've always led from the front. We set the standard. We welcome new people. We embrace new ideas. We challenge the status quo, and we do it first. But we got complacent. We let hate creep into our hearts and elected leaders who indulged in our deepest fears. And now we're sitting here celebrating a handful of wins when there should be too many to count on. And watching as everyone else does what we claimed we couldn't, what we said would never be possible. In the early 2000s, the city of Seoul in South Korea tore down a busy elevated freeway. They dug up the river long buried beneath it. They built a 3.5-mile-long pedestrian promenade alongside it, from a colossal highway carrying 168,000 cars every day to a beloved public park and tourist destination, keeping flooding at bay, cleaning up the air, and cooling the city. And they did it in just 27 months. But the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, I don't even need to finish it, right? We're stuck with it. We are stuck with it. In 2016, the city of Medellin in Colombia began growing a network of 30 green corridors, planting millions of polluting eating trees or plants and hundreds of thousands of trees, and they've already brought down the city's average temperature down by 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. But 1 million trees for New York City, a city twice the size of Medellin, no chance. It doesn't even matter that every year we lose about 350 people to extreme heat. We got to figure that out. We got to do big things. But last year, I told you about Minneapolis. Oh, it's my mic? Oh, it's me. Testing. All right. We're going to try this. All right. Last year, I told you about Minneapolis, how the Midwestern city managed to drive down rents unlike any other city in the region by building more. Well, this year, I'm going to talk to you about Austin, because I have the unfortunate responsibility of delivering the news that once again, New York has been upstaged. In less than 3 years, Austin has brought rent prices down a whopping 22%. They brought down their rents 22%. We're not making it up. We're not inventing lies. 22%. And what did Austin do? It followed in Minneapolis' footsteps. They eliminated parking minimums and allowing single-family lots to become multi-family homes if they choose. In 2023 and 2024 alone, the city added almost 50,000 units. That's how much Austin added. If New York City, a city with 8 times as many people as Austin, were to keep pace, we would have had to build more than 400,000 units over that same time span. This is what we would have to do to be able to emulate a system that dropped the rents of that city down 22% in New York City in the same time span. But because here in New York City, all we did was build 60,000 units in that same amount of time. And I want to be very clear. We built almost as much as Austin, and Austin is an eighth the size of New York City. And in one city, rents keep going up, and in the other city, they keep going down. In Minneapolis, they did the same thing. They added apartments, they added buildings, they added housing, and their rents went down too. The two cities with the fastest growing construction of housing just happen to be the only two cities in this country where the rents went down. It's a hard reality to face or to see, but they're the only two people that did it. The formula is here. See, because here, what we do in New York City is we're ready to throw a ticker tape parade for a whole 80,000 units over 15 years. It's embarrassing. Juan Soto made more money, is going to make more money in 15 years than we're going to build housing. And here's the thing. New York City is a belief system. And too many out there have lost faith. Not me, though. I did it, and I won't forget that we can do big things here, too. We can build the IBX. We can reimagine the BQE. We can make childcare universal. We can close Rikers. And we can bring back outdoor dining. It just takes some political will, a bet on Brooklyn, an investment into opportunity. And you know us in Brooklyn. We do it big. And we do it all the way. From cradle to classroom to career, from casa to community to culture. We got us. So let's start there, cradle, and talk maternal health. And you need to clap when I say maternal health. We're going to recognize. When I became borough president, my experiences as a Brooklyn dad and husband came with me. In 2017, when my beautiful wife Ileana gave birth to my first son, Alejandro, it was one of the 2 best days of my life, matched only by the day my second son, Andres, was born. And while these were joyful days, they were fearful ones too. See, I wasn't lucky enough to stay ignorant on the challenges black and brown women face during pregnancy until after my wife was safely through it. No, our midwife at Woodhull, Miss Helena Grant, wasn't going to let me off that easy. She made sure I knew from day one just how bad things were. That as an Afro-Caribbean woman, my wife was about 8 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than her white counterparts. And as she explained the many reasons why black and brown women face such disastrous outcomes, one thing became clear. The maternal health crisis could not be solved by tinkering around the margins. So I came into office with a promise to Brooklyn, to do whatever I could to make the borough the safest place in the city to have a baby. And tonight, I'm excited to announce just our latest efforts to do just that. My first year was about the money, always about the money. And we gave the entirety of our capital funding, a total of $45 million, for the 3 public hospitals in Brooklyn for maternal health care improvements. My second year, it was all about baby showers. After hosting our very own Brooklyn Community Baby Shower for 100 new and expecting mothers in Van Dyke Community Center in Brownsville, we decided that, all right, Brownsville's in the house. We decided to spread love. Not too long ago, we launched the Brooklyn Community Baby Shower Fund. We set aside $50,000 to help Brooklyn nonprofits host their own community baby showers in high-risk neighborhoods. And we've already announced the first 6 awardees. Well, now we're adding another chapter to our effort to solve the maternal health crisis. And for this, we're turning to our schools. I'm so excited to announce to all of you tonight a new collaboration with Brooklyn College. We're partnering to establish New York State's first credit-bearing advanced certificate program in perinatal mental health. Yeah. Did you know mental health is the reason the majority of mothers are dying in New York City? Did you know that? It's mental health. The rigorous year-long program is designed to train healthcare workers and caregivers to prevent that, to keep new and expecting parents safe and healthy throughout the entirety of their pregnancy experience. The curriculum features 120 in-person clinical hours and was carefully crafted with the help of my maternal health task force. And Brooklyn won't have to wait too long to get started on this work. Brooklyn College is piloting 2 of the program courses this spring and will host their first full cohort this fall. I'm so proud. Yep, give it up to Brooklyn College. I want to give a shout out to Brooklyn College's president, Michelle Anderson, for bringing the maternal mental health to the forefront. Without Brooklyn College, we wouldn't be able to do it. Because whether we're talking about higher education or pre-K or 3K, what happens in our schools matter. And I know this all too well because I learned it in the classroom. I'm a proud graduate of Nuestros Niños Daycare Center. That's me right there, that one right there. With a suit on. My mom did not play games. It's where I learned everything from my ABCs to tying my shoes. And it's the early education that made it possible for me to attend LaSalle Academy in Manhattan on a full scholarship, which was a good thing because my family certainly didn't have the money. And that education changed everything for me and my family. I was able to graduate and get another scholarship, this one from the state, to go to Lemoyne College all the way up in Syracuse. And that's where I met Mr. Thomas, my mentor and college advisor, and learned that kids like me didn't get to make excuses. We didn't get to live life without a plan, without concrete goals. The schools we go to, our classrooms, our teachers, the friends we make, and the resources we have to learn, it can change everything. And my administration has turned an eye towards making sure that our students have what they need to get the most out of their schools. Last year, we invested over $15 million into our K-12 public schools and more than $5 million into CUNY. We even teamed up with Councilmember Chiosei to bring computer lab upgrades to every single K-12 public school in Superintendent Mims' district in Bed-Stuy, right here. Every single school, all 19 schools, received money to get new computers, tablets, laptops, and much more. And while we can't say much right now, District 16 won't be the only one that gets these targeted tech investments. There's a lot in the works for our schools right now, a lot that my team won't let me tell you. And trust me, I tried, until this budget season is officially over. But we will be announcing a couple more districts that are going to be receiving district-wide tech upgrades. And who here has seen Hamilton? Who's seen Hamilton? 3 people? Gotta get more. Well, if you know Hamilton, you know Anthony Ramos, the Bushwick born and raised actor and arts advocate who starred in the Broadway show beloved by so many. And this year, Anthony and I teamed up to bring free year-round after-school theater education back to Bushwick campus. Together, we gave $40,000 to Opening Act, a Brooklyn-born nonprofit that brings inclusive education to our city's public schools. The arts are and always have been an engine of social change. And in our city, they should be an essential part of our students' education. Because, man, these kids give us a run for our money. They are talented, they are smart, they are passionate, they are creative, and they care deeply about the city that raised them. This year, we kicked off our first ever Youth Advisory Council. They're trying. They're trying to turn it off. They working. Our Youth Advisory Council, to try and channel that energy, give young people a platform from which they could affect change they want to see happen. It's made up of 20 high schoolers from Brooklyn's public schools who, with the help of the Sadie Nash Leadership Project, are working together to develop a policy-based solutions for our city's problems. And next month, the Youth Council is hosting their very own teen summit in the People's House at Brooklyn Borough Hall. They're going to be convening hundreds of their peers to talk about something that they're particularly worried about: mental well-being, essential life skills, and personal growth. Because it's tough out here, especially for young people. And some of them land on their feet, but some, they need a little bit more help. So we can't stop in the classroom. We got to take it up to the career. And for that, this next initiative we're bringing together 3 Brooklyn powerhouses: Riseboro, Opportunities for a Better Tomorrow, and St. Nick's Alliance. I'm excited to announce tonight the Bushwick 1000, a multi-year effort to one clear goal: to secure employment for 1,000 unemployed young adults from Bushwick. We'll be recruiting. You can give it up even if you're not from Bushwick. There you go. Camacho likes it. We'll be recruiting young residents who are looking for work and connecting them with the training, coaching, and programs that can help them achieve employment. Because in the promise of New York City is the sweat New Yorkers are willing to put in for it. That's what makes us New Yorkers. It's not where you grew up or what language you speak. It's not how long you've been here or where you went to school. It's the hustle. It's the grind. It's the grit and determination. Real New Yorkers aren't just born. We're made. And that is important because some people out there, some quote-unquote leaders, want you to think different. They want you to pit those with little against those with less. And they do it by selling us this narrative, this story of people outside coming in to take what's ours, what they don't deserve. But that's not how we do it here in New York City. We don't fall for that. The hundreds of thousands of people and families who are seeking to put down roots here, we treat them as our neighbors because they are our neighbors. Last year, it's okay. My son Andres is very excited. Last year, I was proud to open up Brooklyn Borough Hall's doors as a satellite asylum application help center, the only one of its kind. And until the city closed the site down just a couple of weeks ago, thousands of people came through to receive support with their work authorization applications. Nearly 6,000 applicants over the course of a year. Nearly 6,000 people who just want the same shot we all have at working hard, providing for our families, and building a life in the best city in the world. And that's what I call a New Yorker. Jobs. Jobs have always been the gateway. Ask almost anyone. Ask anyone, whether they've been here for a generation or 4 or more, about who they are. And they will trace their story back to one thing: work. An Italian seamstress, a Bengali ship worker, a Caribbean barber, a Jewish baker, a West African engineer. They'll point out the bridge they worked on, the office building where they had their first desk job, the hospital where they spent the night shift. Stories like those, they're in all of us. They're in me. When my dad first came to the U.S., he worked on a golf course. And as a cook, before opening his own pizzeria and a bodega. The pizzeria didn't work out. And what, I could have been like a pizza baron. Would have been making a lot of money. But it didn't work out. And my abuela, she got sick with cancer. So my dad had to sell the bodega to pay for the treatment. And my mother, she was a home health aide until she got a job at a cheesecake factory. No, not the restaurant. The actual factory that made cheesecakes. And when she worked there, that's where we really felt like we made it big. She didn't have a college degree, and her English wasn't the best. But she finally made enough money to be able to move our family out of poverty and towards the middle class. That is, until she lost her job. When factories started closing down, residential development took over, and she had to go back working as a home health aide, which she still is doing today. It was a big blow to my family. The loss of manufacturing, and it continues to be a big blow to the city. Manufacturing has always had a special place in New York, offering a path to the middle class for immigrants that no other career could. Last year, I talked a bit about this when I talked about the history of our waterfront. Talked about how New York Harbor was the world's largest, best-known port, and how in the 40s, over 70,000 people worked at the Brooklyn Navy Yard alone. 70,000 people. Well, our harbor doesn't work like that anymore. We don't have the piers we used to at Brooklyn Bridge Park. We lost them in Williamsburg, but we still have Red Hook. We still have the Brooklyn Marine Terminal. And just a couple of months after my last State of the Borough, Mayor Adams announced something exciting, that he, along with Governor Kathy Hochul and the Economic Development Corporation and the Port Authority, had come to an agreement that would allow the Brooklyn Marine Terminal to become the 21st century working waterfront of our dreams. The city committed to investing tens of millions of dollars into the waterfront. And for me, the child of manufacturing and someone who understands the potential of our waterways to move freight through our city more safely, more cleanly, more effectively, I had high hopes, and I still do. But I'm getting a little worried because some of the people working on this project, they seem to be missing the point. They started talking about housing when they should be talking about one thing and one thing only: how to double down on what makes this site one of a kind. Red Hook is Brooklyn's last working waterfront, our last. And this infrastructure, it's a public good. Generations of New Yorkers relied on our manufacturing districts for well-paying jobs, high-quality jobs that provide a path to the middle class. We can't afford to lose it, not to housing, because there is no scarcity of opportunities to build housing across this borough. But there is a scarcity of manufacturing. And some of you may be surprised to hear me say that because you know where I stand on housing. That we should be building more, that we should be building everywhere, adding homes of all kinds for families of all different sizes and incomes. So I won't spend a lot of time on that tonight. Instead, I want you to take a second to thank the New Yorkers that have been standing with us on this fight, working with us to connect neighbors with homes or help homeowners keep them if they have them. New Yorkers like Churches United for Fair Housing, who my office partnered with when the city reopened NYCHA's Section 8 waitlist to help neighbors with their applications. Or the Flatbush Tenant Coalition and the Mayor's Public Engagement Unit, who teamed up with us for the SCREE and DREE enrollment and renewal support clinic, helping older adults and people with disabilities freeze their rents. Or Brooklyn Legal Services, Grow Brooklyn, and the city agencies that joined us at Medgar Evers last fall and Restoration Plaza this spring to help hundreds of Brooklynites learn about deed theft, access to free one-on-one consultations, and receive support with living wills, power of attorney, and healthcare proxies. But there's one group that I want to give a special shout out tonight. That's the 6 faith leaders who answered our call to be part of the solution, who are coming to Brooklyn Borough Hall and working with my office and an organization called Bricks and Mortals to add housing right on their own land, in their unused parking lots, or where the extra building may be sitting unoccupied, wherever they can. I'm calling this divine dwellings. If you don't like the name, we'll work on it. And this is why I like Brooklyn, because we got us. We step up, we help out. We find a way even when it's not obvious, and especially when it's not easy. And it rarely is easy. I want to talk about our community boards for a second. Because they're a perfect example. This year, we received the most community board applications since I took office. And it was a show of force. Yet it's frustrating because every year, more and more Brooklynites are knocking at our door trying to get into the grassroots level of their local government. And what are they met with? Chronic underfunding, unusable tech, little to no resources, and certainly not enough staffing. They're totally disempowered to do what they are chartered mandated to do. But they do their best. And it's time for the city to do them better. This year, I testified before the City Charter Revision Commission and asked for something new. I asked for the city to create a community board central office, an independent agency tasked with supporting our 59 community boards that have been forced to figure everything out on their own for far too long. The community board central office would be charged with providing boards with land use and planning expertise, with communications and technology support, with space needs, HR assistance, and even help with FOILs. Community boards have an important job to do, and we need to make sure that they have what they need to do it and do it right. Because, yep, round of applause for community boards. Because this happens too often. Our local organizations are forced to focus on everything but their primary mission, just to survive, just to keep the lights on. We see it with our non-for-profits. That's why I announced my non-for-profit acquisition fund 2 years ago, committing to prioritizing capital funding to non-for-profits looking to buy permanent homes. And these nonprofits are going to be able to focus more on serving residents and less on paying rent. This year, I'm so excited that 2 nonprofits successfully received funding to do just that. Mixteca, an immigrant women-led non-for-profit in Sunset Park, and the Arab American Association of New York, a non-for-profit in Bay Ridge that provides all kinds of support to Arab and immigrant neighbors. I look good there, don't I? I like that. My Pakistani crew gave me that outfit, yeah. The work Brooklyn does for Brooklyn, it's one of a kind, and it's something I'm committed to using my administration to elevate. Our NYCHA tenant associations, for example. Our tenant associations are an integral part of life in Brooklyn. Every year, they're organizing backpack giveaways, putting together programming for families, and so much more. And this year, we built on last year's work and gave every single tenant association in our borough thousands of dollars to support community program, a total of $132,000 for our NYCHA tenant associations. Money they're gonna use the same way they always do, to make magic happen. Why? Because that's Brooklyn. It's who we are. Everything we have, we give it right back. And it's our culture. And tonight I want to tell you about someone special who gets that. As a renowned multidisciplinary artist and fashion designer, Callum Delane, though you might know him better as Kid Super. Callum, who spent his days as a student in Brooklyn Tech. Yep, that's him right there in Brooklyn Tech. Making and selling t-shirts, started Kid Super only a few blocks away from the Barclays Center. And by 2021, he was receiving the coveted Karl Lagerfeld Prize. By 2023, he was guest designing for Louis Vuitton. And this past year, he was collaborating with the Brooklyn Nets. In fact, that's where I met him, at Kid Super Studios in Williamsburg, where Callum has built a hub for creatives. There's an art gallery, a recording studio, a screen printing shop, and I've even heard a rumor that he's building a soccer field on the roof. Well, tonight I'm proud to name him our very first Brooklyn Arts Ambassador. In fact, he guest designed that limited edition pin that you all got on your way in. And listen here, okay. I heard some rumbling. So you see these right here are the ones that were designed by Marty Markowitz. And Marty Markowitz, let's give him a round of applause. These are our forever pins. They are not going anywhere. These are special edition pins that'll be coming about once a year. So once a year, there'll be a new designer that's out there working to design this, and I'm gonna task everyone here with a challenge. You all get to design it. You send us your submission, what you want the pin to look like, and I might be standing here next year talking about your design for a pin. And these are special edition pins, so save them, don't lose them, all right? But as an arts ambassador, Callum is gonna help my office celebrate the creative community at the heart of our borough. This initiative is designed to spotlight emerging artists, connect creatives with opportunities, and build a Brooklyn-based mentorship network in the arts. And we want all of Brooklyn to see it for themselves, because not too long from now, the annual competition for our pins will start. and you guys should be a part of it. And this time next year, again, you might show us your pin. Now, this initiative, it doesn't start or end with a Brooklyn pin. It's bigger than that. You'll be able to hear, you're hearing us now about a public art show, a chance for new artists to bring together Brooklyn's greatest and brightest, because that's where we belong, on the top of the stage or in front stage in Brooklyn Borough Hall. And that's where we've been. The whole world looks to Brooklyn, to New York. What we do here, it matters everywhere. And everyone knows it, even Donald Trump. In fact, it scares him. It's why he's so keen on killing congestion pricing, defunding our social safety net, and dismantling the opportunities that we had and that we hope the next generation could have too. It's why when he began taking immigrants with valid visas as his political prisoners, where did it start? It started here. He'll do anything he can to prove that his power is absolute, that he can beat the unbeatable. But we're stronger than that, and we're stronger than he knows. And we see right through him. We know him for the liar, the cheat, and the scam artist that he is. So when he says criminals and gang members, we don't fall for it. When he says terrorists and paid agitators, we know what he really means. Because we know what he really fears, who really scares him. We are a city of 8 million people, 8 million teachers and taxi drivers, nurses and shopkeepers, engineers and artists, 8 million New Yorkers. Our influence reaches far and wide, and our well of resources runs deep. Our communities are creative, resilient, and unyielding. Together, we are powerful. And he knows that the only shot he has at beating us is by picking us off one by one, by dividing and distracting us, by convincing us that it's not our family he's after. But we all know better, because we know that today it's them, and tomorrow it's you. We know that if he comes for one of us, he's coming for all of us. We know that it's not really about Venezuelan men, international students, or trans girls. It's about him, Donald Trump. It's about his power, his wealth, and his regime. But he is not our king. And we are not a paper tiger. We are New York. We are Brooklyn. We are a county full of kings. And we got us, even if no one else does. We got us, the county of kings. I want to thank everyone for being here today. I want you to get home safe. And don't forget to spread love. It's the Brooklyn way.